What?
How is law enforcement tool relevant? How does that work?
Relevant?
Yeah, how does that work?
How does it work? It always works.
How does it work?
It like works better than statistics. So basically,
No, I mean, how does it work? Like, you said, how does that work? Like, what do they do to do that?
Yeah.
But you have to answer this one.
I answered 500 questions.
You asked like you threw 5 questions at us, so you can ask now.
Sure. I ask now.
No, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one.
Okay.
This one.
So how can you connect the dots if you like have too much info? Like you don't know which ones to.
Like we have proven it by because how they connected. So because they have any resource for focusing on good leads.
I mean, if you have too much data, how is it possible to like? Okay.
Is Jen eating her part? Do you need her part?
No. No la.
No la?
No.
No la. New Orleans.
No la. Just say whatever you want. It's not 9. It's 2. That's what you want.
Oh, you think that's 9.
No. Oh my god.
200 minutes.
Yeah, 200 minutes, right? We're gonna see.
Give me.
200 minutes.
Unfair. Why? Because we got to say more.
We did read the whole packet.
And then you even have time
Stop,
to
can I
massage
start?
and come back and keep talking.
I'm waiting on you, girl.
Oh, okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready.
Item 9 is that if no domestic surveillance terrorist attack will kill innocents. Time frame, if no domestic surveillance, the issue that terrorist attack will kill innocent people will happen soon. Magnitude, terrorist attack can kill many innocent people. Probability, terrorist attacks will happen if there's no domestic surveillance. Okay, so my opponents said that a system of information collection that continuously chips away at the rights of Americans turned that democratic system into an Orwellian one. But in the first crossfire, they couldn't answer us what Orwellian means, which seems like they may not think Orwellian matters. Because we need to know what Orwellian means in order to understand what a system of information turned our democratic system into. Okay, so our first condition is that national security is more important. Okay, so our opponents said that laws are even more important when responding to the threat of terrorism. But we have evidence that national security is the president's first security liberty, and that the appropriate balance is removing external threats between security and liberty. National security and civil liberties are not mutually exclusive, which are the multiple historical examples of wartime suspension of civil liberties. Second potential NSA solve terrorism, but for this evidence, it is comparative and specific to the impact of domestic surveillance on civil liberties versus terrorism. Because national security is a precondition for civil liberties and freedom. Third is the NSA method work. So when a terrorist takes away the right to life of innocent people, which is really unfair for the innocent people. So when B, turn data mining researchers for focusing on good leads, which can find links, patterns, and anomalies in masses of data that we can never detect. Okay, so our proposed answer, our fourth condition, which is no alternative to NSA. So when A, if there is no domestic surveillance, then there will be no alternative to prevent terrorism, which there is no compelling or sufficient alternative to domestic surveillance, and domestic surveillance works. Fifth condition, terrorism. So when A, data mining leads to accurate identification of terrorists, which technologies that use large collections of identity information can help resolve whether two records represent the same or different people. And our opponent said that you don't need a haystack to find out, but we say that you need a haystack to find out because data mining is a different piece of information which prevents terrorism. Thank you.
Jennifer, slow.
Brian, you need back down?
Nope.
Did you answer Yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah. I read all of it.
Wait.
No, I
Okay, grab one more piece of paper. Okay.
I have to know who's the
Yeah, I'm done. I'd like to summarize what our responses to their arguments are. So first, I'd like to go with they say that there is no alternative to finding terrorists. However, there is, as we have said, that with a quote by Blenny. Next, they said that they're killing innocent people, and the magnitude. They said something about time frame that it can happen really, really fast. However, what is the probability that you're walking down to the grocery store and you get blown up by a terrorist? The chance of you getting killed in a terrorist attack is 1 to 20 million. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. And next, they said that 54 attacks were prevented. However, we have a quote that says that traditional law enforcement tools are more important because they are more effective. Because just by jaded extremists in the U.S., there was 47 that were prevented. How about the ones in Europe and the ones by other organizations? So there were more prevented by traditional law enforcement tools. Next, they say that we should sacrifice a little bit of liberty for more protection. However, our quote says that security is not an excuse to sacrifice liberties, because liberties are a basic right to everybody. We all should have privacy and liberty, so we should not sacrifice that basic right that everybody should have. Next, I'd like to talk about the amendments. I'd like to say again that domestic electronic surveillance threatens the infrastructure of free expression, the First Amendment, and democratic government. And this ties into the first quote I read because people need to point out mistakes in the government. So hot.
Can you explain traditional form? Explain the alternative to
We have two alternatives. We have two alternatives.
First is a traditional law enforcement, which is like the army, the navy, those guys are police, and they work better into catching terrorists than domestic surveillance, which is quite recent compared to traditional law enforcement. The other one doesn't have to.
What is it? The other one? I'll just reread it.
No, use the only word.
So if you have a terrorist, and then if he calls somebody in the U.S., then you look at that as a target, you take that information, and then you look at the person in the United States and you make contact.
Okay, so I'd like to ask you the same question. Living with no rights at all. Forget the jail part. I don't think you really get that. What I'm trying to say there. Or living with rights with a 1 to 2 million chance of getting blown up by a terrorist. So 20 million. So which one would you prefer to live in?
I think we misunderstood our point. We said that we still have rights. We still have other amendments.
I know, but they are. Those other.
Because you say we violate First and Fourth Amendment, so that's why you are asking us if we rather be and if we rather to have right or not. But it's irrelevant because we do not include other rights. We cannot violate
No, the other 24 rights.
Other than 1 and 4.
The other 24 amendments are not relevant to this debate.
Yeah, it's not relevant. But what you are asking me, my answer is relevant to your question.
Okay, so what was your answer?
There are still other rights.
That there are still other rights.
We didn't violate other rights.
Yeah, you don't have a right to bear arms if you're in jail.
But we're not in jail. We're in a society and we can bear arms.
In a jail-like
What are you talking
society.
about?
In a jail-like society.
In a jail-like society, and there are still people carrying arms. And there's domestic surveillance right now, and they can still take guns out.
Wait, does arms have anything to do with this?
Yeah.
Your partner asked the question. And he's talking about guns. All the time.
All the time.
I think that this debate really comes down to the Third Amendment.
What's the Third Amendment?
Prohibits soldiers living with
Oh yeah.
families.
What?
Yeah, no, it's like living with like.
Okay, don't tell me. I don't know what. I don't get it.
What the 27th Amendment? Congress can't take a pay raise. Kind of. Ages dizzle. Ready something better?
Who won? Not yet.
It's
We're
not
not
over.
even done.
Come on.
You win.
Here. You decide.
Really?
Yeah, come on. No.
Give it to the pretty girl. Who's pretty individual?
Hey, you want to
Brian.
Yeah.
You need to figure out how to change the music on this thing. You need to like start playing like One Direction or something like that.
Why were you listening to One Direction?
I like One Direction.
Why don't you listen to their new songs? Not like what they
Excuse me, ladies, but that's it.
Okay.
I'm not an expert on the pro side, and first I'll repeat my impact calculus. Impact, if there's no domestic service, terror attack will kill innocents. Time frame, if no domestic service, the issue that terrorist attack will kill innocent people will happen soon. Magnitude, terrorist attack can kill many innocents. Probability, terrorist attack will happen if there's no domestic service. And they say that there's like very little chance of terrorist attack killing people, but guess what? There's 911 and there's people getting killed. And also we have proven that there's terrorist attack by using our code that says that there are 54 terrorist attacks that got destroyed by domestic civilians. And to answer their answers to our no alternative, but their alternative isn't right. First, they talk about military work better, negotiation will work better, but during the process they will kill more people, and also then they also say call somebody in the U.S. and if the terrorists call somebody in the U.S. and they can use that to go against the terrorists, but then that is domestic surveillance. That is still domestic surveillance. So what their alternative is not right. And also they talk about data mining as off topic, but they are contradicting themselves because first in their first speech they say that there's overload. The data are overloading, so they have to data mine too, and there's no effect. And then they say that because data mining is not an effective way to prevent terrorism. And they also say that so they are contradicting themselves, and so for that they lose this debate. And also yeah. So I very much support for the pro.
Little Jen, 115.
All privacy violations. It doesn't matter if the government
Krispy Kreme?
Krispy Kreme.
I can't go to Krispy Kreme. I cannot go to Krispy Kreme. No, why? Because I'll just eat Krispy Kremes for my dinner. And I'll just eat like 3 dozen Krispy Kremes. It's the best dinner.
So why don't you go down?
I'll like.
You don't have to eat more overweight.
You hear me sorry, right?
But you're not overweight.
3, 2, 1, start.
They say that our alternative is wrong because it's military, but what I said it was the words traditional law enforcement tools. That's not military. Okay. And they said that there are many terrorist attack examples like the 9/11, but the government didn't stop it when they could, so that is partly the government's fault. And they said that we contradicted ourselves. Sorry, saying that we talked about data mining, but we said that like the national security hawks say there's a simple answer to this spot, data mining, but we're saying that they're wrong by saying that those systems pour through this information trove to come up with unassailable patterns of terrorist activity, and the DOD have concluded with the answer there's simply no known way to effectively anticipate the terrorist threats. And they say that without domestic surveillance, the terrorist attacks will happen really soon. But as my partner said before, the chance is 1 out of 20 million. And oh my gosh, their strongest arguments were no alternative, but we answered that with 2 alternatives apparently, and we also win this debate because our strongest argument is national security does not outweigh civil liberty. It's not the justification for sacrificing basic rights like privacy, and is the domestic surveillance power is just too broad, and it's not one of those times. I'm just happy now. I'm not gonna.
Who won?
Let me pass you Yeller. I know. Yeah, that's how everybody feels right now.
Yeah, so
No, okay.
she's always mad after.
Oh, yeah. I'm always so mad at all of you.
You like scream at all of us.
Right, that's what you do.
Oh my gosh.
And it shouldn't have been like, no, it's not. Like, you should have seen.
Oh my gosh.
HE double hockey sticks.
Sorry, it's this year.
No, it's Scott's.
But this year.
For when he showers here.
He showers here? Why?
No, I don't know, like it's here, right? Yeah, we must go.
Who wins? No, I'm good to that. No, I'm not
ahead of time.